Hello, world. Welcome to the 200th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'll talk about that in a second. What you're looking at is down towards the sleepy town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It's looking through the battlefield, and then a few areas away from here, fields and everything, is the actual town of Gettysburg. It was founded by John Adams in not founded by, it's named after John Adams in 1800, who was the president of the United States at the time, and that was Adams County. And then the town of Gettysburg was founded in 1786. The population of Gettysburg is 7,600 people, and it is approximately 520 feet above sea level. The Battle of Gettysburg was fought here. It's the most famous part of all Gettysburg. It was fought in 1863 during the Civil War. It's the turning point of the Civil War. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address was also spoken here as 7 years ago. Our fathers brought forth on this continent, the whole deal on that. And the other only famous part, if there is any fame for Gettysburg, is that President Eisenhower, after he retired, actually lived here on a nearby farm. And one of these episodes, I'll take you over that way and show you his farm. So this is the 200th episode and broadcast and climate change protest here, and kind of frustrated by everything. That's to be expected, I guess. I'll talk about that in a second. So it's October 6th. I'm doing this a day early, and then next week will be the 201st climate change emergency protest, and that'll be on October 14th. So 200, it's a time of reflection and a time to think about, how far we've come and what we've accomplished, and if we have accomplished anything, and we haven't. We're on a collision course for an epic failure, and we're not even trying to battle climate change. We're not even trying to come up with solutions. In fact, I just read an article today that the world is opening up more coal mines than ever. And this is a response supposedly to Putin and oil prices and everything, but in reality that's a false blame. The fact of the matter is we're not doing renewables, and we're not moving forward with technology as to how to supply energy to the world. It's out there. Tesla had it back in the 1930s, I think it was, how to supply free electricity to the whole world, and no, we don't want that, because where's the profit in free? So this is an epic failure as to, the people are being convinced that it's the problem of war, it's the problem of this, it's the problem of that. And the problem is us. We've lost contact with our politicians, and we let them run free reign. Now we've lost contact with the environment. This used to be called Oak Ridge. You see any oak trees here? This thing here behind me is a monument for the Civil War, because they blasted the crap out of a oak tree, and this whole ridge was cut down at the time. Because they're using it as a defensive perimeter. But in reality, the oak trees around here are dying all over the place because the oak borer beetle, due to climate change, coming in here and weakening the trees, and then the oak borer beetle comes in and does not get frozen and destroys all the oak trees. So there's deeper evidence as to what's happening and why it's happening, but it comes down to us. We've let go. We've given up, and I'm going to read you an article as to one of our family friends. She sent me an article from the New York Times, and I sent an immediate knee-jerk response. And, it's not too bad of a response. I was very emotional at the time, and I wrote it literally in 2 minutes, and pretty well summarizes everything, okay? So I wrote, it's a great article, but I doubt they will ever vacate the coast. The movie will continue despite all evidence as to why we are on a path, at the very least, through a hellscape, and most likely full-on extinction of almost all life on Earth. The rate of change is far too great for evolution to ever catch up. There are no protests. There is no action. In fact, we are accelerating our impending appointment with the Reaper. We are so childish in our behavior that we cannot even hold a conversation concerning the obvious, the science, about what is happening, and the path we have chosen. There's no discussion with politicians. There's no discussion through the media about climate change. There's no exposés. There's no documentaries. There's no discussion and proving why we're in desperate situations, and people are totally unaware. And friends and family who know my wife and myself refuse to have any conversations. Never bring it up. Never talk about it, because it's too uncomfortable. No one dares speak the truth without experiencing ostracism from society. It's an upside-down world run by ineptitude and greed. Corruption governs those who can only mentally handle the weight of a feather when the crushing weight of the world is burdened by the very few who have woken from the intentional slumber of fear and selfishness. I personally will not give up, but the path we are traveling is not a path to survival. The first and easiest step is no longer vote for politicians who utter the words jobs and promote even more fracking, drilling, coal mining. This issue will end us. While the issues of Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, and right to choose are all huge, they're extremely huge. The idea of ignoring climate change is like worrying about the dishes in the sink while a killer man-eating tiger is on one's back. At this point, it's a lost cause. Unless a good portion of the world wakes up and becomes informed, does the right thing, in spite of the fear, and fear, overcoming your fear is called bravery, and does what is needed for extreme action. That's what I wrote to the person, and I commend her for actually sending me an article, because that's the most anyone's done in 5, 7, 10 years concerning climate change. Other than my wife, there's no discussion about climate change. I never have a conversation, and we're not going to get over this, and we will surely pass on as a species and kill all life on Earth the way we're headed. Right now, I'm in pain. I know how this is going to turn out, and failure to see this by other people is a failure, and allowing your politicians to run rampant and be greedy and be corporate influenced and be sick and sinister psychopaths. To get to a high level in government anymore, you have to be a psychopath. You have to ignore the obvious of what's happening. This blasé attitude of so what, it's over, or it's uncomfortable to talk about it, this will end us. This is childish behavior. So the question is, how can this happen? What happened to our community? What happened to our country? And what happened to the world? How can this keep going on like this? And people ignoring the obvious. People are dying in hurricanes, floods, fires, famines. You look around the world right now, China, Vietnam, United States, Europe, Italy, India, Pakistan, Japan, you name it, everywhere, the Oceania, Australia. I mean, Jesus, come on, people, wake up, please, and grow up and take some action. This is as good as it's ever going to get weather-wise, and it's horrible right now. People are dying, losing their land, losing their houses, losing their families, losing everything, losing their life over climate change. And it could be attempted to be fixed at this point. Whether we can get out of it is another story. I don't know. So the truth is, I'm broken. I am heartbroken, and it's not over me not accomplishing this stuff. I feel like an epic failure, but I'm heartbroken in knowing that people are going to die, and now we're seeing closer family and friends in a perimeter being affected by climate change. So 200 of these broadcasts is nothing to be proud of. There are no bands playing. There is no celebration. There are no newspaper articles, no film crews, no millions inspired, no people marching, no United Nations speeches. If this is an accomplishment, if 200 of these is an accomplishment, then the medal I deserve is a medal of failure. That's where it's come to. So I'll catch you next week. It'll be October 14th, 2022, and that'll be number 201.